Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Global Party Healing on All Levels. And that wave is from Raki Krishna in Netherlands right now. Aren't we? We're so graced with your presence. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Jacqueline. And thank you, everybody, for watching. So wonderful to join this party.
It is, and although we were, in some cases people like to dance at a party, it's a global party about healing, and music is one of those things that heals on so many different levels, and it's what you're listening to and the vibration. And so we're going to do something a little different this time, because this is something I like to do. You're going to do a mantra for us, correct?
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about how you've used this in your life?
I grew up with a lot of mantras. I come from a very traditional Hindu family. So my parents told me that the first mantra that I chanted was when I was a year old, when I could talk. So yeah, that's my connection with mantras. And I if I'm not talking, then I am chanting. So I have mantras all the time with me. And especially before starting any kind of healing, I always call upon the Great Mother, the Great Light. And I also always say a prayer for the world. So this is one of the universal prayers. And I would love to share that with you.
That's so beautiful. So open up, everybody, and receive this.
Thank you. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
So we're going to talk about healing within the subconscious mind. And I think you just said that you grew up in a healing family, and you grew up connected to these mantras. You grew up connected in a way that so many Westerners have forgotten. So can you just maybe give us a little bit of how you were, like how you stayed within this, and even with the bells, right? The significance for people that, like, there are probably people that have never ever really heard a mantra.
I would love to explain a little what the mantra means. The first line, it means, may all beings be prosperous and happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is spiritually uplifting. And may no one suffer. Oh, peace, peace, peace.
See, now I will say words like that every morning, right? Because I'll talk about saying intentions. And I know my youngest has always kind of grown up singing. Like, she's always creating songs, and she used to kind of walk around us when she was little, like almost like dousing us with healing energy, and in the sense, and she doesn't remember that, but I remember that. And so you have just naturally blossomed into who you always were.
Oh, I can't say the process was natural. Of course, in many ways. I don't, as a healer, that our growth is never natural in many ways. We have to really do the work as well. I think that was also the same with me. I had different set of difficulties growing into this person that I am today. So, but yes, I was very blessed that my parents were very spiritual people, very grounded people. Um, so there was a lot of bhakti in my home, a very devoted bhaktas, devotees. You know, bhakta means devotee.
Mhm.
So my parents were great devotees. And my father, he can sing beautifully. So I am so lucky that, you know, every morning I woke up to him just chanting and singing and always singing these beautiful mantras. But my father also had a little box, you know, a little idea how things are supposed to be, like all dads, I think, you know, like all parents.
Little
So
box.
yeah, a little box. So, and he's a Vedanti. He served in the Chinmayananda mission for many years, and he had a close connection to the Swami, to Swami Chinmayananda and many other, yeah, mystics. And so he had this particular idea for me. So he naturally thought that I will blossom into somebody who is deeply into Vedanta line of tradition of work, but I I didn't. So,
You did not fit in that box.
no, I really didn't fit in that box. I didn't even know there was a box. So
You were round, expanding.
yes, I was all over. So all over the place in many ways, you know. So that was my big difficulty to actually, because he only believed in the light.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't believe in the shadow. He didn't believe in the dark. He didn't see that it's just two sides of the coin, the darkness and light that is within us.
Uh-huh.
So he always wanted to believe that there is only light.
Okay.
So especially because I had a multi-dimensional, opening or reading since a very young age. I always had very vivid dreams and visions. I always felt that the spirit talked to me through my dreams and my visions. So I could not communicate that to my parents in their language. I was trying to, I was really telling them, I saw this in my dream, I saw this, but no, that's not how it is. That's not how it's happening. So even though my great grandfather was also a shaman, but in India we don't use the word shaman,
Right.
So it's said very differently. So I had to really understand what I am,
Mm-hmm.
what I am. What is this? Why am I feeling this? Who am I? So that was always there within me, even though I kind of knew that I'm here to help. And I always knew that I have a great capacity to love. I just had to find the way how to love and who to love and how to love. So yeah, like each one of us,
Well,
we have
I
our.
think that's really important to share, because even for myself, that as thinking, like you just gave me ahas, because I was like, well, that's what's going on with my daughters. They're kind of saying, well, you might have raised us this way, but now they're discovering things, they're like, I'm not sure, and it's like, that there's a level that they have and connection, but I also know that's that part is we all gotta go out and discover what life is for ourselves and what our role is. And as parents, our job is to let them go.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I'm so happy that this gave you that aha, because yeah, for my parents that was not there before. So now they are my biggest fans. They are so happy for me. They are so happy that I have gone out of their box, and thank God I did, because that allowed me to create my own connection to the universe, my own connection to spirit and God and goddesses. And so I have found my own way to connect. And each one of us have our own way to connect to the world and to gods. So I say gods because I'm a lover of all kinds of gods and goddesses. I love all kind of worship, and I'm just a big fan of God.
Yeah.
Or goddess, whatever
Well,
people.
I caught, my kids were watching a couple months ago that a movie on Thor, and I'd never watched any of these adventure movies, but this one caught me and my attention. I was like, huh, all of a sudden it was like, yeah, this whole idea of mythology or these ideas of all these other god, I mean, they would have been, they might not be the ultimate part of creation, but anybody that had superpower greater than what you have, I mean, even to this day we go, wow, how did that person achieve that, right? And I believe that's just demonstration of what we are capable of when we allow ourselves to resonate with that frequency, that vibration, or soul, whatever name you want to call it.
All of this is energy. You know, that's what I have really been shown from my, I would say, my 6th year or 7th year here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always seen them as energies, and it was very difficult to tell people that yes, they are there,
right,
but not in that form, but they are there. That love, you can feel that love from each god or each superhuman or each mystic. You can feel their love.
So when somebody comes to you with an issue, is there, you know, a typical issue, or is it they have discovered you and they're like, oh, I know you can help me finally?
Oh, this is interesting because I've seen a pattern, and it is always like I have most of my clients. There are people. I find the word client difficult sometimes, but anyway, I keep it client because then people understand.
Right.
So they have always come to me after spending many years, you know, trying various different kind of healings, and they somehow they come to me, and then they think, okay, I don't know this, you know, I just heard about you and I thought, okay, I just must meet you, and here I am. What do you think? Where can we start? How? So I have always felt that what my gift, or you know, my blessing, or anything you call it, it is really to help people connect to their heart, to their source, because that's where their power is, that's where the most beauty is, and I'm all about love. So it's, you know, for me everything is love. Everything is love. I've always been really you know, a loveaholic, so that's my main thing, you know.
If everybody was addicted to love, loveaholic, but in agape love.
Yes. So for me, it's very important to help people understand that we have that power within ourselves. And that power is our healing nectar, the healing nectar for our mind and for our body and for our soul and the whole being that we are. So that is, the main thing, what people come to me for, to feel their heart.
So people come to feel your heart, but they still think it has to do with their mind, don't they?
Yes. I mean, I have to correct you. They come to feel their heart.
Right.
And it's interesting. They come to me to feel their heart, their capacity. Okay. So, yes. And of course, the pathway is through the mind.
Okay.
Because you have to look at our conscious mind like a gardener, or seeds that we want to plant, and our subconscious mind is the garden. So you need to have a fertile, good, solid garden to be able to plant those seeds, to be able to work. So that is my main job as a, you know, call it a shaman or a spiritual guide, or many people, you know, call me different names sometimes, but that's my job, to really make their garden fertile. I always tell them, you know, it's teamwork. It's not like I'm sitting here and doing magic. I would love that if it would just happen like that. You know, sometimes that would be amazing.
When something does happen, I have had those experiences where someone has had an immediate healing, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I had a healing, I'll be back constantly, like, you know, in community, whichever. And it's like they never come back because they had really what they wanted. They didn't want to keep going on a spiritual
Oh,
journey.
exactly.
They
Yes, yes, yes.
just wanted the relief. And that's a big distinction. It took me a while to come up with, is that some
Yes,
want just the results and get back into the same old, and others wanted transformation.
absolutely. So for the ones who really want to clean up their gardens, I'm here. So, and I,
If you want
yes,
that weed pulling happening, right? And the
yes,
good
yes.
compost, that's right.
Yeah, so I only have, and that's also the beauty of it. I only have beautiful, beautiful people around me who I work with, and then it becomes very clear where they stand and where I stand and how we get things done.
Mhm.
Because of course, you know, when they meet me, there is this beautiful healing of love that takes place.
Right.
It's not that I wouldn't say that, you know, that's like my super, you know, extra power or something, but what I felt is that I genuinely love people and I care. So that just comes across, and that's mutual. You know, they want to genuinely meet me and connect with me. So there's this mutual, you know, little soul to soul love affair that happens. And then they sit with me, and then I know that, okay, this is how I can help, and I give them, you know, a clear idea. Okay, this is how we will go. And if you're ready, hop on board. But if you think that, okay, you know, if you're hesitant, take your time, you
Mhm.
know, go back and just come back after 6 months. Maybe you're there then.
Right.
So
So now you're working with energy,
mhm.
right? So it's not like
Yeah.
someone's coming to you, just for people that get this distinction. They're not coming to you like they were going to a medical doctor or a naturopath, and they're walking away with a bunch of herbals that they need to take or exercises per se to do. There is an energetic shift that helps them have a new awareness or a new awakening to and realizing the weeds have been pulled out of their garden, and it's becoming more fertile for good, beautiful blossoms of more love and purpose and passion.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So
Yes.
for the person, for instance, so in one sense, we'll go with the garden analogy. So you actually had a very good garden prepared for you with your family in the beginning, because they were saying, hey, we're really spiritual, we're singing, but they had a limited garden.
Yes, very limited garden. And also because, you know, in a way, I always tell my father, and I tell him that he is my guru in many ways, and he's my teacher in many ways, and also my mother. And it's not just the teachings that he passed down to me, it's not just the mantras that he passed down to me. It's really his life that I've learned from. It's also his failures in life. And so I got a good angle, also as a daughter, but also as a student of life, just to really observe, you know, what has happened in their lives, why things happen this way. And so I understood from, I think around my 9 or 10 years, that what I am feeling or holding is not just mine.
That
So
is a very good point. I want you to say that again and expand on that, because people are coming to that awareness, but it needs to be like blowing out there in the world.
Oh yes, yes. We should do a whole episode about, you know, patterns and
Yeah.
and ancestral trauma. Yes, and yes, that is something I realized when I was, I don't know at the correct age, but
Like 9, 10, that's, and I mean, if you were that astute, I think some of the kids nowadays they too are feeling and absorbing all these frequencies, but they have no, they're missing a grounding. They don't have,
exactly
they don't really have a spiritual rhythm to tap into.
true. Yes, and yeah, I must tell you a little bit of my childhood. I was a very sick child.
Okay.
So when I was born, I had a difference between my white blood corpuscles and the red corpuscles. So I was basically sick, and in hospital, in quarantines for for most of my life until I was, 10 years old. So I got to spend a lot of time seeing death and life and sickness and pain and people, and just really, spending that time alone in quarantines are so important. They're so important. At that time, I didn't realize that. I was always happy, sitting there in the quarantine. I would have my little book and I would sketch. And my parents were always amazed, and as well the doctors and nurses. They would always see a happy child, just a child, just sitting there. But watching, people die around me literally on a weekly basis. Sometimes, I would see that on a daily basis. That really strengthened my love for life. I love life with everything that I have got. I live every single minute, every single moment. And that is one thing I always try to spread through this love that I give people. I always tell each person that I meet, go out, go in, go up, go down, go everywhere. Enjoy life. Enjoy this moment, because this is what we have. And I have seen that the 10 years of my life, when mothers are crying because losing a child, or it's been so intense, but those years were my biggest teachers in grounding me. That's what I'm coming to, because that really, Jacqueline, that grounded me. That really made me understand that this is so precious. You are here, and wow, you are alive. Because my parents, they were constantly afraid that they would lose me. I have died almost 4 times. The doctor has literally said that she won't wake up. I don't think she will wake up. So I have seen my soul getting out from my life and really, coming back in. And that really changes you. That just when I look back, I go, oh wow, in a way I'm so blessed, I'm so lucky that I could see that this, what I have, is so beautiful and so powerful, this time that I'm having here on earth. So that helps me to tackle fear. I've always been fearless. When you have died 4 times, that changes you completely. So I was always fearless, and that is why I can work with people's fears, because I've seen them all. I've seen most fears. Of course, I have not seen them all, but then, what's the thing, people are afraid to die, and when you've done that, you think, oh, trust me, it's not going to be that bad. I'll tell you, it's not going to be bad. So that has helped me a lot, also to be very focused in the now. So that is why I love when I'm working with somebody, to make everything about today, not keep everything in the past. Of course, when I see something from a past time, I only use that as a reference in my life. If I feel that, oh, this can genuinely push this person forward, then I will use that particular thing from the past. So that is, and of course the bonus when you work with your conscious healing is that it helps you heal a lot of wounds. And that is why people with depression, people with sleep problems, they also come to me, because when they reconnect to their heart, that's when they blossom. That's when they really start healing. So I don't see depression as depression, how normally the conventional medicine is saying. I see depression as a wound.
Yes.
So when you heal that wound, when you acknowledge it as a wound, then you heal.
Okay, that's a tweetable. So the illness is a wound. It's not the incurable or the something you have to live with. No. If you look at it and say it's a wound and it can be treated and transformed, you have so much more power. Like, I'm sure people could just feel it if you just, when you said that, it's like, oh, it's just a wound. it's just a wound. I don't have to live with this. I don't have to like feel this all the time. It's like a wound that can be just like putting a Band-Aid on, you know, but we're not going to put it, you're actually going to go deep in and transform it and heal it completely, right? And you've had those experiences. I think what's really cool about your life is that so many people would look at it like your parents did, and like they'd be so fearful of losing you, and they'd be thinking every time something bad happens to a child, quote unquote, right, from their perception, that, oh, it's hurting the child, and they're in a sense, I think, adding the trauma back onto the child and their fears. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes. Because at one point, I never thought that I would get old. Because I was always hearing that, you know, I could feel my mom's fear. I could literally feel it in my bones, how scared she was,
Right.
how scared she was. And that she would just be sitting there for hours, just wondering, oh, you know, can she have this one sip of water, or can she walk today, or can she sit up today? So she has, oh wow, she's the greatest goddess I know, you know, unbelievable woman, so much strength and so much power, that I got to see both, you know. I saw how desperate she was for me, but I also see her beautiful strength. I always feel like, wow, that, you know, I come from her. And I come from this line of people who can selflessly serve. So that was really beautiful to see. But yes, they do pass on their fears. And the same thing, you know, we carry fears and trauma for 7 generations, and that is a lot.
I'm just gonna stop that one. I'm refusing that. Like, you know how your mom's fear? I'm just saying no. I mean, I know that we can carry it, but I want to make it a like, okay, like let's just give them that there's a new upgrade. There's a new app that says delete your 7 years. and I'm activating that button now for the universe.
Oh, brilliant. Yes, but that is possible.
Yeah.
That is what I practice here, because it is possible. And I always tell people, if I can come to this kind of healing, if I can come to this level of healing within myself, it is possible. Because, you know, even though I come from a spiritual family, my grandmother, she was said to be depressed all her life. So I have only known her as a mental patient. And I have lost 2 most important people in my life due to depression. My uncle, my godfather, he committed suicide because he was heartbroken. And at that time, I was much younger, much younger. So, and it's so beautiful because the day he took his life, I had this vision in the morning.
Right.
And I told my mom, I said, please, I call her Amma, I said, Amma, please call him. It's her brother. Please call him. I saw that things are not going well with him. And I saw a death in your family. I saw your mother crying, and I saw that he is probably the one who is going to die. So please do call. And sadly, my mother could not reach him. So we don't, even now I realize that we don't really talk about him that much, because it hurts both of us, because, you know, it's something like, you know, we knew, we got this direct link. We knew that this is going to happen. We just couldn't stop it, because they live 3.5 hours away from where we live. So we just couldn't go there.
Right.
So I have had this great wound, because he was the most amazing soul I've ever known. He was my godfather, and I've spent a lot of beautiful moments with him. So I feel like that has gave me a bigger understanding about depression,
right,
and healing, and the possibility, and also the necessity to understand depression. Because we must not suppress it. Because with my grandmother, she was taken to a psychiatrist, and she was given the best treatment. You know, my grandfather was an amazing man. He took care of her. The whole family took care of her, but we could not heal her wound. I remember so clearly, you know, I have had an amazing relationship with her, and I'm a lot like her. Even, you know, my looks, I'm a lot like her. So I know that, oh, when I feel a particular strength in me, I know that, oh, she's with me now.
Right.
She's with me. And I felt that every time when I sit with a person who is depressed,
Mm-hmm.
because I know that she is guiding me also to do this kind of work, because it's so important to show the world that if I can break this ancestral trauma
Yeah.
and a lifetime full of depression that has been passed down to me in the form of fear and suppression, anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. And that is really my message for every person who is watching. Do not think that it's the end. Do not think that you have tried it all unless you have really worked with your subconscious mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Because so for those maybe too that still have never heard of the whole subconscious conscious mind bit, right? Think of it as your hard drive on your computer or the storage in your phone, you know, in that sense that you've got things, you know, if you just start to take a look, you've got things in there you don't even know you have in there. You might have you've got programs that came with the computer. Okay.
Yes.
Kind of like your hereditary and your ancestral patterns that were passed down, right? Like
Yes.
they're just there. Then you add a few, and then you get a few other things. You don't even know if you got some cookies attached to some of the stuff that's hanging on there. And that's the idea that technology, the gift that it gives us, I feel, is the physical manifestation of what we're actually experiencing as an energetic being. Mm-hmm. And so getting into your subconscious is like getting into your hard drive or your storage.
Absolutely.
And
yes, your motherboard. You know, that's like a storage box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Because, you know, all that we believe becomes our truth, becomes our reality.
Yeah.
And well, how do we change that? How do we change our core beliefs? It's not just the belief system that we are raised with. You know? It's really the concrete essence of who we are from deep within. That's our DNA. You know, how do we change that kind of belief? So that is, it's so important to be able to talk about it. I'm so excited to share this information and to really talk about it.
Well, it's ongoing because there's, you know, like we know that DNA can shift and change based on your core beliefs, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same as when we're talking about like the storage that you have. Also, if you're really sensitive, you could be picking up those things from the cloud computing, right? Like so it might not be, let's say, your ancestors, but for those that are super sensitive, you might be picking up on 7 generations of trauma related to the location that you're in, you know?
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes.
So,
yes. And that is also, yes. Oh,
I was just going to say, so sometimes when you might think, I've never seen Raki online before. Well, because she's doing all her work and so much of it, she's doing face to face in her community. So she can do it anywhere in the world, right?
Yes. Yes.
Anywhere in the world because it's energy.
All over the world. Yes. But it's also, my practice got really, I would say, busier. When I started the healing center here. Before, I only used to work online because I also have a little boy to take care of. So I've always felt that, okay, my biggest job is also to be his mother. Yeah. Of course, I would love to serve the world. I would love to help everybody. But I also have this big, beautiful job to be his mother. Yeah. So that I always had to remind myself every single day to put that always as my priority. And so that is why he is 7 years old now. A wonderful age, yes. So I love to be this mom who is, you know, baking with him and working in the garden with him and going out with him. And
right.
Yeah, it's such a dream to be a mother. So yeah, so that is why I did most of my work online. But a year and a half ago, I got a very clear dream, and with all the background, you know, like, okay, open your doors now.
Right.
like today. And I thought, oh, wow, really? I thought, oh, okay. And I always know when it is about things like this, it's really never about me. So I know that, okay, I'm just going to open the door, and that's going to happen. So after that, I started taking, really doing online sessions, but also, yes, in-person sessions. And that's the most beautiful thing that happened to me, because I live here now, and in the Netherlands, and it's been amazing to be able to connect with people in my locality, in my country, in Europe. I also have people coming all the way from Spain or France, Germany. So it's also amazing to be able to open my doors and to receive people in. Yes.
No, it's extraordinary work that you're doing, and I am like, I just feel so blessed that we were connected, and that we're in a sense on this journey together, because I think that's what I want people to know as they're watching, is that if you really open your heart, if you open your eyes, if you ask, if you're pleading, if you're depressed and you say, please, is there anywhere there to help me? Just be open to noticing what shows up in your life, because it could be all of a sudden there's a post on Facebook. It could be that you meet somebody at the grocery store. It could be anything, right? But if you're open and you step forward in a new way, it can transform your life, and it can be the beginning of healing your subconscious and tending to your garden. So then all the weeds are gone, and it's all growing so beautifully, like it is in spring in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, you put your garden a little quiet now.
Yes, but then the beautiful part is then it becomes your garden. Yes. You can plant whatever you want. I always tell people that, always remember that this is your journey. I am a little candle lighting a light. You can take it, go run with it, live your life, transform your life. Just have this garden of your dreams.
What is your heart's desires? That's what everybody, that's why I call my site Best Whole New World, because I do believe that everybody can have their best whole new world, right? They go Absolutely. From the caterpillar to the butterfly. We are so fortunate, everybody. I don't know how if you realize how fortunate you are to have Raki give her time for us, but this was a real, true blessing.
Oh, thank you so much. I am so excited because I usually don't spend time online. I'm very old school for that. And I love this because I have a real person sitting there, and I'm connecting to you, Jacqueline, and you are such a vibrant, wonderful, loving soul. So when I got your message, I was like, oh, who is this? I'm going to check her out. Of course, I love that that lovely human connection that we are making from worlds apart, and thanks to technology, and yes, and you giving this time and organizing this beautiful party. So excited to join all of you.
Well, I hope we can do more of these, because I know the world sure could benefit from them. So thank you for being here. I love you.
Thank you so much. A big kiss. Thank you very much. Namaste to each one of you.